My parents kicked me out at 19. You'll be begging on the street, Dad laughed. 15 years later, I own 14 restaurants. Then Mom called. We deserve 30%. I said, check your mailbox. I remember the sound of my suitcase hitting the gravel. It was my 19th birthday. My father stood in the doorway, arms crossed, looking at me like I was a piece of gum stuck to his shoe. You're a drain on our resources, Leo, he said. His voice was cold, devoid of any fatherly warmth. But I'm still in school, I stammered. I'm working 20 hours a week. I just need a few more months, he laughed. It was a sharp, jagged sound that still haunts my dreams. You'll be begging on the street by next Tuesday, he sneered. And don't come crawling back. I won't even open the door. My mother stood behind him, silent. She didn't look at me. She was busy adjusting a new rug. They'd bought with the money they'd stopped spending on my tuition. Go on, she muttered. We deserve a life without your mess. I left with $50 in a backpack. The first year was a blur of gray bus stations and the smell of industrial dish soap. I slept in a 24-hour laundromat for 3 weeks until I saved enough for a room that smelled like damp mold and cigarettes. I worked 3 jobs. I scrubbed toilets. I flipped burgers until my hands were blistered and raw. I remember eating a single potato for dinner and crying. Not because I was sad, but because I was so damn tired. But every time I felt like quitting, I heard that laugh. You'll be begging on the street. That spite became my fuel. I didn't just want to survive. I wanted to build a kingdom they couldn't touch. I crawled my way up. From dishwasher to line cook. From cook to sous chef. I spent every waking second learning the business. I studied margins, supply chains, and flavor profiles like my life depended on it, because it did. By 25, I opened a food truck. By 28, my first brick-and-mortar bistro was the highest-rated spot in the city. Now, I'm 34. I own 14 high-end restaurants across the state. I drive a car that costs more than the house they kicked me out of. I never reached out. I blocked their numbers a decade ago. Then last Tuesday, my phone buzzed. An unknown number. Leo, it's Mom. Her voice was thin, shaky. Not the voice of the woman who watched me get thrown out. How did you get this number? I asked, my voice as level as a frozen lake. We saw you in the business journal, honey, she said. We're so proud. Your father. He's had some health scares. The medical bills are, well, the house is in foreclosure. I said nothing. The silence stretched for 10 seconds. Leo, we're family, she continued, her tone shifting to that familiar entitled edge. We raised you for 19 years. We calculated it. You're a millionaire now. We think it's only fair that we get 30% of your dividends. It's a success tax for the foundation we gave you. Then my father's voice barked in the background, muffled but clear. Tell him we'll take a lump sum if he wants to settle early. We deserve a comfortable retirement after what he put us through. I almost laughed. The audacity was almost impressive. You want 30%? I asked. It's what's right, Mom said. We're your parents. We gave you life. Check your mailbox on Friday, I said. I've sent something that should cover exactly what I owe you. Oh, thank God, she exhaled. I knew you were a good boy deep down. I hung up. Friday came. My assistant confirmed the delivery. My mother called me 40 times. I didn't answer. Finally, she sent a text. What is this? Is this a joke? Inside the envelope wasn't a check. It was a meticulously itemized bill. I had hired a forensic accountant to calculate the inflation-adjusted cost of every meal, every shirt, and every utility bill they had provided for me from age 0 to 19. Then I attached a second document, a bill from me to them. It charged them for consultation fees for the 15 years of psychological trauma I had to work through. The emotional damages of being homeless at 19. The final balance, 0. But that wasn't the payoff. The final item in the envelope was a printed photo of the restaurant they had applied to for senior discount vouchers 3 months ago. I had bought that franchise last month. I sent a final text. The 30% you asked for? I donated it to the local youth homeless shelter in your names. You're officially banned from all 14 of my establishments. If you step foot on my property, you won't be begging on the street. You'll be explaining yourself to the police. And Dad, you were right. I'm not coming crawling back. I blocked the number. I sat back in my leather chair, took a sip of my coffee, and finally enjoyed the silence.